we've talked recently about how the brethren more and more are pointing to the temple. And obviously, the baptismal ordinance also important. But we've talked previously how even the baptismal ordinance is kind of an extension of the temple that's been authorized to be performed outside of that. So really, the pointing the orientation towards the temple is actually the brethren, kind of as you were saying, deflecting a little bit. I don't know if that's maybe the right word, but saying, look, ultimately what you need to do is enter into these ordinances, focus on these ordinances, and God will lead you. Like the Lord will guide you after that. You can rely on him and his revelation direct to you in order to continue your journey down the covenant path. That's really fascinating. I mean, it's really a, if you think about an illustration, the brethren of the church, the leaders, those with keys, they're really just ushers. They're just ushering us into here's what you really need to be focused on. It's just the ordinances of the temple and the transformation. We talked in our Come Follow Me last year in the Book of Mormon study we did, how it's really interesting when King Benjamin is speaking to the people, and as he speaks to the people, they actually, the scriptures actually talk about how they receive a remission of their sins as part of that. They truly were repentant and truly had that godly sorrow for the things they had done. And the question is, like, if they hadn't entered into baptism yet, if they hadn't entered into covenants yet, which King Benjamin, clearly indicated they had not, how could they have received a remission of sins? Well, this is interesting because it shows us that an individual can temporarily, at least, receive a remission of sins through real godly sorrow and contrition. I mean, that can happen. But what do the ordinances provide? What is it that makes those so special? Well, first and foremost, it allows retainment of that remission of sins. It allows Christ, as symbolically represented with our garments, to cover those sins permanently, right? So that retainment of sins is step one. But step two, as these verses kind of talk about, it's the actual transformative power of ordinances, of the atonement being the engine that gives, the power to all these ordinances. I mean, it makes it all possible, right? And so that's the piece that I think maybe other faiths don't focus on as much because they don't quite understand it. There's almost this idea that, well, if you embrace God and you accept him into your life, you'll just naturally start to change and be a good person. Like it's just an outgrowth. And our understanding is much more sophisticated than that. That as you enter into these ordinances, there's a real sincere dual purpose of receiving a true remission of sins that can be retained for good. But then there's also the flip side to that coin of real transformation, of utilizing those ordinances to truly be changed and transformed into a more Christ-like son or daughter of God. And so it's not a coincidence that more and more every talk and conference is pointing to the temple and the ordinances in the temple, because ultimately that is where they're trying to get us to go and to receive that real power that the Lord is offering.
Ordinances. Just think on it. Okay?
Thank you for watching. If you found this content spiritually enlightening, please like, comment, and subscribe.
Like the gospel, these little things make all the difference, and it helps the algorithm push out better content for everyone to enjoy on YouTube.